afternoon. My name is Jake Wadsworth, and I'm grateful to be able to speak at this forum on Warramai land and acknowledge all traditional custodians of this land, especially elders past, present and future. I grew up and attended school in the Hastings Valley before joining the Royal Australian Navy to become a helicopter pilot. I'm proud to have served alongside amazing men and women and deployed in drug and weapons trafficking interdiction in the Middle East area of operations and disaster relief in New Zealand. I discharged last year with my family, with my wife, and we moved up to the Hastings again to grow our family. We now have a wonderful one-year-old daughter. I'm here because I want climate change to be on everyone's radar. I've emailed all the councillors of Port Macquarie Hastings Council and I'm thankful to the few that responded. I know they are all extremely busy. In my emails, I provided a brief overview of some reputable resources outlining the challenges of climate change, and I would like to emphasise some of these today. I expect to be one of many people who will bring the issue of climate change to Council in the following months. When others bring this issue forward, I want all councillors, their opinions and responses to be informed by reputable resources. Mostly, I want them to consider what the subject matter experts have to say about what we can expect into the future on our current climate change trajectory, but also what solutions already exist. So what do reputable sources tell us about whether climate change is real and if humans caused it? Well, NASA has an extensive website dedicated to providing comprehensive research and referenced account of the nature, causes and effects of climate change. Their expert opinion is, yes, climate change is real, and yes, it is caused by humans. The NASA site reports over 97% of the world's climate scientists agree that climate change is real and caused by humans, and this is echoed by over 200 scientific organisations. Why should this matter to us living in the paradise of the Mid-North Coast? For this, I look to the World Health Organization, the United Nations, and national security subject matter experts as reputable sources. The World Health Organization has listed climate change at the top of its list of the top 10 global health risks in 2019. Reasons for this include rapidly increasing deaths from infectious diseases, deaths from heat waves, and deaths from more frequent and more intense natural disasters. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has recently published a report raising significant concerns about food security, raising the concern of starvation and malnutrition, especially in countries that already experience climate extremes, like Australia. In regard to national security, former Chief of Defence Force Admiral Barry has contributed to a policy paper about the impact of climate change on national security. In this policy paper, the major concern is the mass migrations of climate refugees from Australia's many low-lying neighbours, including Indonesia, who will also face significant food security. Apart from pressure on already limited food and water resources here, this also makes societal upheaval and civil unrest probable. If you do look further into these resources, it would be easy to lose hope and feel that we cannot address climate change quickly enough to avoid these significant outcomes. However, the solutions exist, and I urge you to consider the evidence-based solutions outlined in Beyond Zero Emissions and Project Drawdown. Beyond Zero Emissions provides a costed roadmap to address climate change in Australia, while Project Drawdown's list of 100 solutions implement technologies that already exist to reverse climate change. This has been a very brief overview of some of the reputable resources I hope you will consider whilst making your decisions as leaders of our community. If you have the question of what can we do, I strongly suggest and believe that Council and all governing bodies should mobilise the resources necessary to implement the changes needed to combat climate change. The sooner we do this, the less drastic the change faced by all constituents in the future, and the more resilient we can be, or the more resilient we can make our economy and community in the uncertain times ahead. Rather than reinvent the wheel, I believe we should draw on existing plans made by subject matter experts and adjust these to suit the needs and nature of our locality. Darebin Council's Strategic policy around climate change is an excellent place to start. It's a great starting point for generating our own roadmap to climate resilience. Areas to be addressed in any action plan must include the key emission sectors, including energy, transport, land use and waste sectors. A responsible action plan would draw on evidence-based strategies for reducing emissions as well as local knowledge. Of note, Darebin Council's journey started with the declaration of a climate emergency. However, I acknowledge there is a balance to be struck between the urgency of initiating sufficient action against climate change and a community understanding and supporting these actions. As such, regardless of whether Council decided to declare a climate emergency or not, bold leadership and significant educational and community engagement resources would be necessary to engage the community to understand the importance of these actions. Thank you.